I'm Andrew, the Education Director at ED Title. Thank you all for coming. I know it's your first time for a couple of you guys, so really appreciate you out here supporting us and being with us. So I'm not a CPA, so I can't answer every question. I'm gonna do the best I can to give you all the correct. I know taxes change every year, so I try to keep up with my CPA and ask questions to keep up. So I'll answer the questions that I can. If I don't know it, I'll tell you, and then I'll find the answers, and we'll come and I'll reach back out to you and let you know. Okay, so we'll do our best to kind of find out. And if these are, I know where this is live, so if some of the things we share is last year's taxes, it just maybe don't have it quite updated yet, and we'll get that updated and fix it. Again, get your own CPA, it's good. Some of the main overview, this is where we're gonna kind of talk about some of the things, and then we're gonna jump in to some more hands-on stuff and some basic stuff you can do. One of the biggest things that everyone says when you do your taxes is to keep it easy. Don't overcomplicate it, okay? Like I showed you, I gave you a copy when you signed in, I made you an Excel sheet, I will go over that together and talk about that. One of the things you can use like is QuickBooks. That's just an example of one of the things that works really well. You pay a monthly fee, it has an app even, so when you start to drive, you just touch a button, it turns on your miles for you, it tracks everything automatically for you. So if you ever get audited, the IRS likes to say, because I can say, I drove 30,000 miles. They're gonna say, how can you prove it? Well, I drove, and they just prove it. And they're not gonna wanna take my word for it. But if I can show a third party, like QuickBooks or Mile IQ, I've used that before in the past as well. They both work really well. Both of those will track it automatically for you. And I like Mile IQ a little better than the QuickBooks Mile because some of the apps, a moment you go over 20 miles an hour, it turns on automatically. I don't have to remember to turn it on. So it does use more battery that way, but it's easier to keep track of everything. And I like that a lot. So these ones are great. So remember, keep it easy, make it simple, find something automated that can help you. That's the biggest help that all the CPAs tell me that I've talked to them, is that have agents find something automated. And so if anything happens, you can just say, well, this is my third-party system here, and it just automatically prints off your whole year for you. And everything is deducted automatically. And then you don't have to worry. And along those same lines, I recommend getting this stuff to you if you want a credit card. I have a business card that I use for all my business expenses, like we do at the company. And then at the year, I own anything real estate goes on that card. And then I know anything related to real estate is only on that business card, and it's separate than my personal financing. So I can easily just track at the end of the year, just print it off, have everything worked out automatically. And that works really well. So things like that make it easy, keep it simple, keep it easy, and go like that. That'll make it a little bit easier for you, okay? Vehicles are a huge write-off. If you need a new vehicle, anything over 6,000 pounds, I'm almost 100% sure it still affects, you can write off the whole price of the vehicle. So if you need to buy a vehicle, you see a lot of agents have a brand new car every 2 years. It's not because they're doing really well, it's because they want to write off the vehicle every 2 years. And you can even buy a new car every year if you want. Whatever, if you buy a car, as long as it's before December 31st, and it's over 6,000 pounds, you can write off the full price of the vehicle.
What is better, to buy it or to lease?
That's up to you. If you drive, if you have a lease and you can write off the lease payment, because you're renting it, you're paying monthly payments to drive it. So it depends which way you, so are you gonna keep the car?
I do prefer, but once a CPA told me that when you have a lot of income, it's better for a tax purpose to have it leased.
So the thing you can do, if you have your, like if like my car was under 6,000 pounds when I bought it like 5 years ago, because nobody told me. But I would have bought a different car, or I would have leased a car, because I could have had a car for the same payment, nicer or leased, and I could have written it off for the 6,000. So no one told me that back then when I got my car.
Okay.
So I can't do this. This doesn't affect me. But if I would have leased it, if I wanted that type of car and I leased it, I could have still written off my monthly payments.
Okay.
You write off your monthly payment, not the value of the vehicle.
Not the value of the vehicle, exactly. It's a different if you lease. Only for
Well,
leases.
and if you buy?
If you buy it, you write off the value of the vehicle. So if you buy a $70,000 like G-Wagon, whatever, you could write off $70,000 on that year on your taxes.
Even though you paid?
Even though you paid 5% down, it doesn't matter.
And then next year?
And then next year you're zero. You could trade it in and get another one.
And another
And another
$70,000?
$70,000.
Oh, I got that one.
Yep, it's really, so I have a friend who works at Lincoln, and he's a car dealer there, and he works in the salesman. He said every year, the same client comes to him and buys a brand new Lincoln cash for $100,000, a Lincoln Navigator. Because it's over 6,000 pounds, and that's one of the
The
examples.
cash,
And
it
for
doesn't,
whatever, they have a big business,
it doesn't make sense.
it doesn't
like-
make sense, but he wants, and he just writes that off. And he has it as a business asset every year in December, they come in, the same client, and that's his yearly client. Every year they come in, they buy the car cash, they write it off. And they just say, here for my car, and he's like, hey, let's go pick the one you want. And he wants the most expensive one because he makes a lot of money and he wants to write it off. And if he doesn't have enough deductions, he uses the car to write off the deductions.
And what about if it's like for your company, if your brokerage is if you are the broker, is under your company or is under your name? There
So
is
you can only write off the
deduct-
vehicle that's used for majority of business use. So 51% or more, 50% or more,
Uh-huh,
you're using,
Ah,
you're using for business.
okay,
Like I have 3 cars at home. I have a car that I drive that I use for my real estate work and I
Yes.
drive it all the time. My wife has her car and my son has his car.
uh-huh,
I can't write their miles off or anything because they're not used for real estate 50% or more.
uh-huh.
Even if I use their car because mine's in the shop, I can't write it off that day. I can still write the miles off, but that car wouldn't be written off, the wear and tear and all that.
Okay.
You can only do the one that you use. That's why most realtors have their day travel and you put a lot of miles on your car. So that's why a lot of people say get a lease. Because it's, it's easy. You have miles on it, you can run it, you can use it, trade it in 2 years, have a new car. You always have a nice car, but you can write the payments off. But then you lose this full write-off,
Uh-huh,
okay? So you have to balance what you want to do for your business. Now, miles are great. If you drive miles, you can do miles or gas. You can't do both, okay? So it depends on the type of vehicle. I have a friend who's a farm and ranch, and he drives a big heavy truck, and he tows behind like a 4-wheeler to drive through the ranch, and he spends like 6,000 or 7,000 a month just in gas sometimes, because he's always driving across all of Texas. So he writes off gas, because he spends so much in gas for the year. He'll spend 60,000 in gas for the year, and that's much more of a write-off for him than it would be if he did the miles
mhm.
of, 55, 67, whatever it is this year for miles. It's either 55, 57, something like that. I didn't look it up yet. We don't know next year till January what the miles are gonna be, all the time.
And is there like I remember there's like a standard write-off like on miles, like,
So most people, they said,
10,000 miles.
yes, like 1,200 miles. Most people do like, 1,200 miles a month or whatever. And that's basic what the average commuter. But as realtors, we drive a lot. Like when I train a lot more now, but before, like, I used to write off like 27,000. Because I still go to Laredo every month, I go to Houston for the company, so I don't do as much now as I used to, but I still write off a lot. But before, the last couple of years, like 4 or 5 years ago, I wrote off 27, 30,000, because I was driving all over the state every week. And I used to go to Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, Laredo, I was going everywhere for my business. So that's a lot of miles, I would go through at least 30,000 a year. Sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less. And now last year it went down some, and this year it's gonna be, more like what it was last year. Because I don't drive as much now, I've been doing this more. So you can't do both though. You can do one or the other. Now, what I can do, because my car is under 6,000 miles, I can write off depreciation of my vehicle if it's under 6,000 pounds. That's 5 years, you have to keep the car for 5 years, and you can write off a fifth of the value, this is how I understand it. You can write off a fifth of the value of the car every year for 5 years. So if it's a $50,000 car, you can write off so much thousand every year for 5 years. But if you sell the car or get rid of it before the 5 years, you have to pay back the IRS what you've written off. So this is only if you're gonna keep your car for a long time. Okay? So don't use this if a lot of realtors will buy a new car every 2 years. Because they put so many miles and they wanna have a nice car. And that's why your CPA probably told you to get a lease, because you put a lot of miles on your car.
Yeah.
And you're gonna want a nicer car every couple of years, and then it's less expensive if you don't wanna pay a huge month of payment to put right off the full price. It just depends how you wanna do it. Okay, but these are your big ones. Your vehicle and your miles, most people have the biggest deductions on those. And then depreciation or anything else. Alright, if you have cash employees, a lot of people will have, like, you have your own broker. So if you're paying cash employees, or you're paying people that don't, they just want to just pay me cash. You can do that, there's nothing wrong, as long as you keep track of that. So when I talked to my CPAs, they told me to get a copy of they said like get a receipt or make a little invoice, says I paid you this, If they don't wanna give you a copy of their ID to take a picture of and put it on the invoice, have them sign it, or at least put an X that you gave it to them. And then you can register with your taxes that you paid cash for people's services, even if they were like, whatever, we do a lot of construction, we do a lot of lawn care, and I pay a lot of those in my real estate business, things like that. So if I'm gonna pay them cash, like a lot of people like to get paid cash, they need to report it themselves. I'm not paying them as an employee, I'm just paying them as their service, and they need to report that. But if I don't have proof that I paid it, I can't write it off. So that way, you wanna have proof, it's very simple. And they can be used that way to show you paid the cash employee. You just need a receipt to be able to pay that off. Okay, and it will help you be able to pay that off that way. And then we're gonna show you this tax breakdown sheet. So this is in what I shared with you already. And whenever you come to the class in the future, I always try to let you have something to take home. So as long as you sign in, I'm gonna talk about all the other things you can share. So this is an example of a form that I would make every year for my CPA. So I would just have it all filled out for him. And then he would just be able to look at it, go down the numbers, fix it up, and he really liked it and made his job really easy. So for example, if you're paying home interest, you can write that off. If you paid any loan interest on your school loans, you can write those off. If you have a VA disability, and you're beginning like I'm a prior vet, I have to claim when you have to say what you're being paid for your VA disability. It's not taxable, but it can push you into a different tax bracket. So it still counts as income, but not taxable income. So just so you know, you're supposed to reclaim that. How many people have a home office? Everybody raise your hand. You have a home office. Don't say no. You have a home office. We all have a home office, okay? So, for your home office, if you pay part of your water, your electrical, your gas, your cell phone, all that, a percentage of that, and I don't know what the exact percentage, they have a formula, the CPAs have this fancy formula. They put it in based on the square foot of your home and all this stuff. I don't know the formula because I'm not a CPA, like I said, but they'll pull that formula in there and you can write off a percent. I mean, how much do we use our cell phones for work? Like, it's a computer, right? It's our
All the
computer.
time.
100%, I was on the phone this morning,
Yes.
100% of the time, we're on our phones, using our phones for work. So you can write off, I always say write off the main, like I have a family plan, I'm not gonna write off my wife and my kid and everything, things like, because they're not in real estate. But I have the main phone line is under me, so I write off that whatever the $100 a month or whatever it comes out to be, I can't remember. And then that's my thing, because cell phones are very important. Internet and all that can all be written off, you can again, not all of it, but a certain percent based on your home size. So if you think of your home office, when you're at work doing work, do you ever go to your kitchen? Of course. Yes. You're like, yeah. Do you ever
That's
use
my office.
Do you ever use it? Is that part of your office?
It's part of your office,
Do
of
you ever
course.
use the restroom while you're working at home?
Uh-huh.
That's part of your office. Do you park your business car in the garage? That now is that square feet is now it's an office space now because it's your garage.
Yeah.
Do you store, like I have a third car garage, and I have all my real estate signs and all my stuff, my flags, I have a whole pile of stuff in there. That's storage now for my business, so I can write that square feet off.
Oh.
But what about if you use for your business, but also for yourself, like
Yeah.
a personal stuff? Still,
So
can
you
you deduct
can still
those?
write it off because your business is still being used.
Okay.
Yep. Now, remember, most people say you can do about 20, so if you have like 1,000 square foot home, you can do 200 to 300, 20 to 30% of your square feet of your home on average is what most people have for business. So you can't say I have 80% of my home is being used for business. You can't do something like that. So you're gonna get red flag and the IRS is gonna, because you're lying. So, but if you have I have a 10 by 12 office, and that's 120 square feet, we have a kitchen, we have a garage, and I have a bathroom, and then I have a 3,000 something square foot home. So I could easily get 600 to 800, which would add up about 600 to 800 square feet for my home office area that I use out of my home, for my garage, my bathroom, my kitchen, and that's normal. That would fit in that 20 to 30% of the square feet of your house.
And the family, let's say like your wife also works home office, then can she deduct one part and you can deduct
Yep.
the other one without
You can
problem?
do that together if you
okay.
wanted to.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah, anything like that. So the home office is a great way to get deduction. And the bigger your office is, the more you can deduct for your electrical, water, gas, cell, and internet.
And if the AC goes off, The
That's,
AC,
then you're fixing your home office repairs,
yes,
because it's repairs to your
or
house, your
plumbing
office.
or whatever.
And you might only
Oh,
get
yes,
30% of
that's
that off.
right.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you might only be able to write off 30% because it's also your house too.
Mhm.
But even if you can only write off 30%, if it's a
Yes.
$4,000 repair, that can
Mhm.
really add up.
Yeah.
And things like that can be maintenance for your office.
Mhm.
So don't try to write the whole thing off where it's a red flag. But they expect you to be spending money on maintenance, marketing, things like that.
Mhm.
About 30%, that's fine.
Exactly. 30% is that's what people use usually. Anywhere from 20 to 30% is what most people spend
Mhm.
on their business. And that's normal. So if you're at 80%, that's a red flag.
Oh,
If you're at 10%, they're like, wait, you don't make any money?
Uh-huh.
And if you don't make any money for like 4 or 5 years, then you're gonna be a red flag.
Mhm.
They're gonna say, you never make money, why are you still in business?
Mhm.
And they're gonna start paying attention more.
Mhm.
So if you make just enough to say, oh, I make some money, but I have my write-offs, okay, I'm okay, I don't really pay that much. Or if you're making money and you're paying. You wanna be able to balance it. You don't wanna be ridiculous. Cause obviously that'll be a red flag.
Yeah.
If you pay home insurance, of course, part of that can be written off. Miles driven, we talked about that. Car insurance on your primary vehicle, you can write off your car insurance. Because you're being paid for that.
Has to be prorated if you have 2 or 3.
So just usually you know what, like if you have 3 cars, it's divided by 3. Like I pay 300 and something a month, I would write off 100 a month for my car. And that's simple math, like, okay, it's about $100 a month. Marketing is big. So, do you ever give back any commission to your clients? Do you ever help them out in closing?
Yes,
Mhm.
You do, right? What does that come out of?
I give them a check.
You give them, no, you get it out of title, right?
Uh-huh.
You never give them money directly. You always do it on the CD, the closing disclosure, and it comes out of your marketing budget.
I don't do that.
You will now. Yeah, you're gonna
Yes,
think
yeah.
and you're gonna do it.
You're violating
So-
yeah.
So you're not supposed to just give money, you can, it's your commission, you can give money however you want. But if you do it through us at title, through the closing disclosure, you now can show the IRS, I gave this out of my marketing budget. And then you tell your client, this is out of my marketing budget, but I'm gonna give it with you. Because you can write off 100% of marketing, but you can't write off 100% of gifts.
So I have to disclose that on
Yes.
the
Yep.
bill.
So if your client so say like, I give $500 to every person I close, unless they need it for closing or down payment or whatever. And then my lender, he also has a $500 lender credit. So we have $1,000 we give to all our clients. But it comes off the closing disclosure as a buyer credit and a lender credit. And I try to work it so my client gets a check at closing for $1,000, if it works out, unless they need it for closing or something. Usually we try to get them a check at closing for a certain amount, and then we can get a big picture out here holding a giant check with the money on it saying, we gave our client this much money. What did your realtor do for you?
I just give them by my personal check, so I
So-
cannot lie.
Oh,
No, because then you could, as long as it's from your marketing.
$50 is the maximum you could give.
In a, yeah.
That's
in
for,
a gift card.
yeah, for a realtor,
Yeah.
but you can give your money whoever it's your money, your commission, you can give it to whoever you want.
Uh-huh.
We just can't, no, we didn't hear you say that, it's live, so we heard you say it, but we can't, don't say that. Anyway,
So do I
So
have
in
to
the
tell
fut-
my broker?
no, in the future,
Uh-huh.
put it in the CD as a part of your, I call it a buyer credit, if it's a buyer or a seller concession. We call it a buyer or seller concession in the residential. Do you mostly do residential or
Yeah.
commercial? So do a buyer, is it a buyer side usually? So do a buyer concession and just give it to them through the CD, and they can get as much as they put down for earnest money, usually. So if they buy a $300,000 home and put $3,000 down for earnest, they can walk away with a check for $3,000. Okay. And then it comes out of your marketing budget, and then you can write that off on your taxes.
Oh my goodness, I didn't know that.
Now you do, that's why you're here, yes.
So just tell title before
You
closing.
can just
that I-
talk to us before closing,
Uh-huh.
and we'll do the numbers, we'll walk you through the numbers and make sure the CD shows that.
Oh.
Yep.
Show the broker off for me.
And of course, yeah, the broker, you have to let your broker, will write you, which broker are you with?
Real,
Real, yeah, just Real will have a form and you'll fill out the form at Real great with it. And just say I want to do a buyer agent concession. They'll give you like you said, a broker will do a letter saying no problem. They'll send it to us and then we'll make sure the numbers work so that you can give it to your client.
okay.
And then if your client wants to use it to pay closing costs or whatever they can, it's up to you and your client at that point. And then we can put it wherever it needs to go for closing.
Oh, nobody tell me that.
That's okay, we got you now, don't
Oh,
worry.
thank you so much.
Us over here, we got you guys, yep. But remember, marketing is huge. On my best year in real estate, I wrote off 48,000 in marketing. Because I gave out a lot, I gave a lot back, I had a ton of closings. So always think, so it's 1099, how much do we pay? What's our regular percent, right? It's 30% on average is what we're gonna pay. Once you make more than like 75,000 or something. So hopefully you're making that pretty already. You should be, if you're realtors, you should be making about 70 to 100,000 a year. So once you get that 70,000-ish, I think it's 70, 75, whatever, somewhere in there, we're right around a 30% we pay for 1099. So I always try to give back 1% out of my commission. Now remember, if you're making a 4% commission instead of 3, you can give that 1% back that way. And then you still make 3%, and then you give back 1% through title, through the closing disclosure, and your client gets the 1%, and you still make your 3.
You can deduct, right?
Yeah, and you can deduct it from your marketing,
Okay.
okay? And remember, you can get that extra percent from the seller concessions. You can get your commission from seller concessions. So if you get yourself an extra percent from seller concessions for your commission, and then give it back to your client as a credit, then you still make your 3%, and you now have 1% you can write off. So you just wrote off 25% of that deal, and now you can write that off on your taxes as a deduction on your marketing. And then you don't have to pay taxes on that deal because you already did by giving it back to your client.
But don't you get taxed only, or you get 1099, like the broker gives you
Yep.
1099, only the money that you receive?
But you'll still earn it, because it's still your commission they're gonna give you, but you can give it back to whoever you want. So if it's a $300,000 home, I'm still gonna make 4%, 12,000 from the broker side, but I can give 3,000 to whoever I want.
But you're only gonna receive 9,000.
But I'm only gonna get 9, but my 1099 will say 12.
That was pretty.
And that's why, because the broker said, you're still gonna get this commission. We don't care what you do with it.
Mhm.
If you wanna give it to your client, that's fine, as long as you do it through your buyer concession letter, through the title.
But I'm gonna still 1099 you 12,000.
And I'm still gonna 1099 12, and then I'm gonna write off, I have 3,000 written off of this 12 already, my 25%.
Okay.
That would be my 1099, where my taxes would come,
Mhm.
okay? And then that way you can have that written off already,
No,
and that'll really lower your tax burden. Does that make sense?
yes.
Okay, that's
Question.
important, yes.
I'm the same, that's
Yeah.
it. But there's a split. I don't get 12,000. I get 9,000.
Okay. So that's
That- out of those
if you got
9,000, maybe
3%,
I'll-
right?
Huh?
If you got 3%.
Yeah,
So what if you got 4%?
okay, if I get 4%, but I don't get those 4, broker gets 1% and,
So the broker gets 4%, and they're paying you out of that.
uh-huh,
Yep.
yeah.
And then if you want to give back some of your 4%, you can. Okay.
But the split, that's my question. I don't get 1099, the whole split.
You will, so let me show you for an example. So let's say you have a home for 300,000, it's just
Uh-huh.
easy math. And if it's an FHA loan, what's the percent you can get for seller concessions?
6,
6%, right? 6%. Can you get more than that?
no,
Yes.
you give more?
You can get more since COVID, since the NAR settlement. You can get more than your commission of the max, as long as it goes to the agent as our commission. So I can ask for 7% seller concessions, but I have to keep 1%. Okay, and that's how you do it. So 7 times 3 is 21. So I'm gonna ask for 21,000 for seller concessions, but I'm gonna get a full price offer. I'm not gonna lowball the listing agent. I'm gonna tell them I need seller concessions, I gotta buy the rate down. So then I'm gonna use 3% for closing, 2% to buy the rate down, so rate buy down. And then I have 2% left that I can do whatever I want. And I have 2%, now I made 5% on my commission, because I already got 3, I got 2 from the seller's disclosure. I wanna give back 1% to my client. So I'm gonna give the client 1, they now got all their earnest money back as a 1% they put down for earnest, and I just made 4% of that. And then if I wanna give back more to pay for like the home warranty, anything that you usually would pay for, I could do that. Now, if they came back and said, we're not gonna give you 7%, we're only gonna give you 6, 6 times 3 is 18, this puts you at 18, all the rest is still the same, 3, 4, 5, 6. I just don't have that extra percent.
Yes, we're good on that.
But the 1099 will show a 6% commission, even if you give some back, because remember
No, the broker is gonna,
so
Cut me
I guess
off.
I'll have to ask the broker and see, because usually they'll send you the full amount you made, because you still made that money, but you just gave it to somebody else.
to the broker.
No, you gave it to your client.
No, so that's a question. The broker, before even, like,
You mean like
The
the
split, the
50%?
split.
I know what you're saying, like say you're 20% whatever.
yeah,
Yeah,
20%
exactly.
split.
So you made, let's say you made 4%,
Mhm.
12,000, right?
Yeah,
You
12,000.
made your 12 or whatever, or
And
9,000.
broker keeps two.
That's
So let's say so you'll say we'll keep the math easy and we'll say you made 10,000, you walked away.
Uh-huh.
Or we'll say you made 12,000, we'll just pretend the broker doesn't keep it. But we
No,
know they keep,
no,
of course
but
they're gonna keep it.
if broker keeps 2,000.
So if we have, let me get the calculator, cause that's, make sure I have my math. So say we have 12,000, right? Because 4 times 3 is 12,
Uh-huh.
and say the broker keeps 20%, so you're gonna have 9,600.
That's what I'm gonna receive. Uh-huh.
Yeah, and that's what your 1099 will say.
Okay.
But
okay.
you're gonna give what?
Uh,
1%?
1%.
You're gonna give 1% back to your client.
960, uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. But.
And then you're really only gonna make,
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
9
Okay,
times 8, you're really gonna walk away with 72,
okay.
because the client keeps 1%. But your 1099 is gonna say you made 4, and that's how you can, then you'll show the full thing, and then you can write off. But it's even better if your 1099 says you only made 3, because you still have that write-off on the closing disclosure to show you gave money back. So then it shows you gave money back more than the 1099 does. So either way it works. Does that make sense?
Yeah, got it.
Okay? I know we're getting wild here, but that's good questions.
Next.
Okay, of course, all your realtor fees you pay, you can write off. Every month when you do your yearly, your fees, all that, all your training, all your if you pay for the CE today, you can write that off. So that's a fee you can pay to write off. I recommend buying a computer and a cell phone every 2 years. Those are business expenses, you can write them off, the full price, and then you can write off deductions as well. All your signs and equipments, you can write all signs and equipment off, of course. If you have to buy lock boxes, new signs, flags, open house, all that can be written off. Miscellaneous costs, which is like paper, ink, anything
Printer.
printer, yeah, all that crazy stuff you never think about that you always need. All like the label maker, you need the labels, all the stuff that you end up buying, the little things here and there, all that can be written off. So keep track of all your miscellaneous. Okay, meals with clients. Last year, if it hasn't changed, this is how it was this year, you could write off 100% of the meal with the client. As long as you met them knowing that you were going for the reason to do business. If you met them and you just happened to have dinner with a client and you weren't, and you're their client and turned into a business talk, but that wasn't the reason to go with them, you could only write 50% off.
Okay.
But no one's gonna know the reason, of course. So I always say, you're always going to talk about real estate to everybody, of course, as realtors. That's what we do, we're gonna talk about real estate. So you can write off 100%. Now that might have changed this coming year, I don't know yet, I gotta find out. But last year, we could write off 100% of meals with clients. So it was great. So keep track of all the meals you eat with clients. Okay, work trips. What constitutes a work trip? What makes a work trip? So you have to go to Houston, right?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do while you're in Houston?
Hotel.
You're gonna go to another brokerage, and you're gonna walk on, and you're gonna introduce yourself, and you're gonna get their card, and you're gonna give them your card, and you're gonna get their information, and you're gonna spend part of your time working. And now it's a work trip.
Oh, wow, that's so nice.
Yep, but you have to be able to show that you went there for work. That you didn't just go, I can't go to Houston to Harmon Road to just go shopping at discount stores and never talk to anyone about real estate or get a real estate card from somebody.
Or show a home?
Or I could show a home. Yeah, we have the MLS for Houston now. So I could go there, or I could visit a builder, one of the new homes, and go tour one of their malls and do a video. Then I have time stamped that I'm there doing real estate. Spend a half hour, an hour doing real estate, and then the whole trip can be written off as a work trip. Because they expect you to do other stuff than work, obviously. People know we don't work all the time.
And you deduct hotels,
And
everything.
deduct gas, hotel, flight, anything, as long, but you have to have it has to be a work trip. So you have to be doing like visiting, and I like visiting new homes, because it doesn't matter, you don't have to worry if you have the MLS or not. No matter whatever state you go to, if you go there and you're visiting and you're talking, they always have new construction in every state. And I just go into, I'm Andrew, I'm in real estate in Texas, I wanna find out more about what you do here, because as our broker, any broker, you can have your license whatever you want. So I could be like, I'm brokered in Texas right now, I'm licensed here as a broker, but I could go anywhere I want, doesn't matter. And I could be licensed in other states. So that, I can do that as a way to look at other states. It's an easy way to do that, so that could be a work trip.
And what about international
So
countries,
do you
like
do-
Mexico?
So do you
Because
do
I
any-
do a lot of.
then that
it
would
in
count, because you do work in Mexico, I don't. 'Cause
Uh-huh.
I'm not from Puerto Rico, so I couldn't do that, but, you know, if that's your Puerto Rico, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, so if you go to Puerto Rico to learn about real estate
Mhm.
and see if you can expand your country, your real estate footprint there, that's a work trip.
Flights and everything.
Flights, everything.
Ooh, I lost a lot of money there.
But remember, if you're something you can go back up to 2 years and adjust your taxes up to 2 years back.
Oh,
So if you want
okay.
to do that, you can.
uh-huh, okay.
Yep, so talk to your CPA and let them know, because a lot of times you don't realize if you're going to overseas or whatever.
Sí.
Like I went on a trip with my wife to Turkey, I didn't talk to anyone about real estate, so it's not a work trip. I can't write any of that off, because I don't speak Turkish, I only speak a little bit, so to me, I could not, it wouldn't have worked. I couldn't, even if I visited a real estate agent there and went to see new homes, I would have had to have a translator, I could have made it work, but it would have been a lot of problem. So I'm not writing that trip off this year, because that's not a business trip. It ended up being just a personal fun trip for me and wife, because it didn't work. That's, so you have to think like that. Okay, if you have any interns or VAs, or you have even a transaction coordinator, any of those, all those can be written off, write all those fees off. And I recommend getting a transaction coordinator to help you stay organized and work hard. And that'll make your life easy,
Mhm.
okay? If you have any monthly healthcare fees, some of those can be written off, certain amounts. I don't know the exact math, but usually you can write off certain amounts. Vehicle maintenance up to a point. If you're just doing like an oil change, something like that, you can't always write all that off, because that's normal maintenance, that's part of having a vehicle.
100%?
I don't know if you can write 100%, I don't know. But it, like, I had to get, like my car, I have to get tires. Tires are not a normal expense. You know, as a realtor, we drive so much, and tires are expensive.
Mhm.
You can spend $800 to $1,000 easy, if not more, on a car.
Like 2 tire, like
Yeah,
that.
exactly, and those are vehicle expenses. If anything happens and you spend money on it, that's outside of your regular vehicle, you can write those off.
Oil
Okay.
changes,
Oil changes, little things like that, they all add up.
100%?
I don't know 100%, I'd have to find out, but I know you can write certain percents. I think when you get to a certain number limit, depending on the value of your vehicle, they have that math thing again they do, then it starts coming off, but I don't know the math exactly. But that's why we have CPAs, or you can just put it online. I do mine like that, zip form, I do the online tax thing, I just plug in the numbers, and it does the math for me and tells me what it can take off.
ChatGPT.
Yeah,
I
or
was,
ChatGPT.
yeah, with ChatGPT,
Yeah, ChatGPT
yeah,
will tell you
you can
as
have
well,
it.
if you use
Uh-huh.
ChatGPT.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
all change.
Yeah,
or-
well, I next
Yep.
question.
He's my best friend.
Yeah, now,
Claro,
this may change this year, I don't know, or this coming tax year. For this tax year, they were allowing ladies, if you're, like, you're a realtor, you have to look good, right? So if you went to the salon and got your hair done, you got your nails done, anything like that, you could write off 100% of that.
Oh, 100%?
I don't know if it's changing this year, I have to find out, it changed, last year, it was different, we couldn't do that, this year we could. I don't know how it's changing this next year. I gotta talk to the CPA and see the changes.
Face?
Yeah, I don't know.
Gym memberships?
Gym membership, you could probably write that off, because that would
Yes.
be keeping yourself in shape. I don't know, you could probably get away with it. That would be something your CPA would have to, but you could
It's
call
not
that
bad.
personal care.
Mhm.
Cause that would, I mean, you do have to be in shape to be a realtor. You gotta run around and you're driving all day. We eat crappy food, we get stay healthy.
Massage?
Yeah.
We gotta be.
We gotta be loose, we gotta be ready to go.
Facelift? Oh,
Botox, I don't know about that, but not be going into much. You know, if you listen to the video IRS, we're not saying that. Anything like that. So, think about that though, but talk to your CPA. Find out exactly how the laws are changing. But I know it was that way for like this year. This year as well for clothes, you could write off clothes if you buy them to use for business.
Okay.
Okay, you can't buy like stuff you're not using for business, just like you go to a party, something like that. If it's not a realtor party, you can't just like go crazy, go down, like I always laugh about. You can't just go crazy shopping, fill up your closet if you're not gonna use them for your business.
Okay.
So it has to be closed, it used to have to, like you have your shirt with your, your Mikasa thing, yeah? It used to have the label, like I had to have E and B title on it, we no longer have to have that. They don't care if it's branded or not, it might change again next year, we don't know. But this year, it didn't matter if the clothes were branded or not, as long as they're being bought for business. And ladies, you guys sometimes wear a different outfit a couple times a week. So you might have to buy a couple outfits a week just to keep track of all your costs, to keep yourself looking good. And as long as you're wearing them at business and they're being bought for business, you can write those off. Okay.
Good, you know.
Will you send
Why
us
CPA
also?
don't say?
Yeah, I'll send it to you too.
Nunca nos
Yeah.
dice nada.
I'll send it to the last.
Ajá.
Glasses.
That's me.
As you try, yeah. Let me share this real quick with you guys too. Oh, Rodolfo might not
Yes,
let me
that's
send
me.
it because it's a, do you have a Gmail?
ROLEP,
Give me a second. Hold on.
Rolep,
Okay, what is it?
ROLEP,
ROLEP?
ROLEP, 77, Gmail, at Gmail.
Okay.
I think it's
Share
that.
that with you.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, the other thing in your Google Drive when I shared, I wanted to show you this tax breakdown. This is what, this is old, it's like 4 years old, but it's still good. This is what my CPA gave me when I first sat down with him to get ideas of what we could write off. Some of this is what we kind of, like, see deductible for advertising. Certain things are non-deductible, like holiday parties that aren't branded. So things, if you're throwing a big holiday party and you're doing a Christmas party, you're not gonna be able to write off all your Christmas stuff you bought for Christmas. That's a gift.
Put a logo there.
Exactly, but if it's branded, so like when I buy gifts for my clients for closing, a lot of times I'll get Cutco knives, and you can put your broker and name on the knife,
Mhm.
and now that's a branded gift, I can write that off. So I always try to get something that's branded or something part of the house. So things like that, you can go through like T or C, like health insurance and auto insurance, this is disability, some things you are non-deductible, but some of them are deductible. You just have to kind of see what they can, and this is like 4 years old, but this gives you some ideas to kind of think about. Another form in here is this one, I stole this from Facebook. Someone put everything, like an idea of all the stuff you can deduct, just so you have an idea of all the different things you can deduct on here.
But you can consolidate several, because like business cards, things like that are marketing, just put
But
marketing. right?
I put everything in marketing, because
Social media,
people expect you to pay money on marketing, that's how you get leads. It's all marketing,
Yeah.
so I put
Facebook ads.
I put ads under marketing, I put everything under marketing.
even Craigslist, they
Yeah,
charge me
Craigslist,
$5 per post.
Yeah, if you do $2 a day for Craigslist or whatever it is, or
Yeah.
$2 a week, whatever it is on Craigslist, you can do that, and then you can have to just pay marketing. All that can be put together, so that's in there as well. Don't worry about this, isn't really important now. Get rid of that junk. So you guys have any questions? Again, I'm not a CPA, I just did the best I could.
Yeah, that's another question of CPA.
Yeah.
Should we do taxes ourselves or?
You have to decide.
Would you
No,
recommend?
CPA.
I recommend to get a CPA if you've never
Yes.
done them. Cause my first year, I got lucky, I worked half the year, and then the second part of the year, I had like 20 closings, 30 closings. And my CPA, then I did my taxes, my CPA was like, you're lucky, cause you didn't deduct anything, and you don't even have any idea what you're doing. I was like, I have no idea. And he's like, if you didn't have a W-2 for the first half of the job, you would have been paying like 20,000 to the IRS. And I was like, woo! Cause luckily I already had that other job that ended. But my next year, he told me how to structure it. But then, I like giving like marketing, doing this. My CPAs are not gonna give you hints on how to write it off. They're only gonna tell you, this is what I did, okay, they're gonna do the numbers, give you the thing, have you sign it and do it. And his fee was going up like $500 every year for this, and my files are easy, it's already organized. I just give it to him, it takes him 10 minutes, he puts it in the computer, it's done, I sign it and we're done. I'm like, I'm not paying you $2,000 to do 10 minutes of job.
I prefer to have CPA.
Exactly, so
Right,
but if you have
all the
a
business-
complicated, like if you're your own broker, you might be more complicated, especially if you start getting into property management, you might want a CPA. I don't have a
I
separate.
use a CPA, but
Yeah,
the one that I had, he died. He was really
Oh.
good. And
Mine
then,
goes
then I have another one,
Different.
but she doesn't know anything about real estate.
Yep.
She doesn't tell me all this
so
stuff.
most
that you're
CPAs will not, that's not their job. They're not gonna help you find deductions usually.
Yeah.
Ah.
Their job is you give and say, this is what I want you to do, and they do it.
Ah.
Because they don't wanna be held accountable by the IRS, saying, oh, you tried to be tricky or whatever. They're not that's not their
In my
job.
case, this is my cousin, he basically, he always
Yeah.
said, I mean, this is, you can do, like.
So I do my own now,
deductions for
last
this,
year and the last 2 years I did my own because,
But most person you
Because
have
now
to
that I
do it
saw
on your own.
It's more
So-
simple.
I mean, what I did, honestly, what I did, I had my CPA do it for 4 years, I think. And then I
Mm-hmm.
took a copy of all 4 years
And just copy.
and I just see what he did, I would look what he did every year, what he deducted, and then I went through and I just did it myself.
Oh,
Mhm.
Because you can put your own deductions when, I do it like Tax Pro, whatever online.
Mhm.
once a
Whatever.
year only?
Once a year, I do my taxes once a
Yeah, me
year.
too. Okay.
Yeah, now you should if you're gonna pay, like the last 2 years I didn't pay, I didn't get really anything back, just a couple $100, but I came out negative, which my goal was to not have to pay. So I came out just, I'm pretty much nothing, which I evened out because I work and I do real estate, so it kind of evens out,
Mhm.
even though I'm not paying a lot of fees in real estate.
Yeah, that's another
But
thing.
it's
when you-
different when you have a company than when you, it's
So
by
if you have a
yourself.
company and you have an
Uh-huh.
LLC,
Even though you are a
then you
broker,
probably want to look
yeah.
at getting a CPA,
Yes.
because it's more complicated.
Mhm.
It's more, it's
Yeah.
better to
Because I'm
have a,
just a regular agent and I
Uh-huh.
just do it myself, and I'm a broker, I'm not an active broker, I work under a company, I'm an associate broker. So I don't work, I don't have my own company, you have your own company, you have
Yes.
agents, you have your property manager,
uh-huh.
it's gonna get more complicated.
Mhm.
And you do commercial, that can get really complicated, and you guys are doing a lot of different
Because I have
things.
other business with my husband, so that's why
See,
we have
and then your
LLC.
husband has other business, so that
Yeah.
can really get complicated
It's
for
so
you guys.
complicated.
Yeah, so I wouldn't do that honestly, that's too much for me.
Mhm.
I have, mine's very basic, I just plug it in, it takes me an hour, I just go to the computer, plug it all in, it's done online, and it's
Mhm.
fine. And it, because I don't have really complicated tax return. And again, I have my CPA for the last 4 years, I pull them all up, I have a copy of them, I see what he did, I see what he scheduled out, I look at his Schedule E's, whatever they are, that he deducted, and I just deduct the same. And then, okay, that's, if he did, it's the same amount too now, and it just matches my prior taxes, and it's not an issue. Okay?
Mhm.
So a CPA that I like, that I've used, it's Ken Flint CPA, I'll see if I
Okay.
can find them.
Oh.
And they're not endorsing me in any way. Here it is, Flint CPA. And I like them because him and his brother are the CPA, they've been really good to me, they helped me a lot the years I used them. And him and his brother are both former IRS agents, and they run the company together, and they're good people too, which I like.
There's
I like-
another one, Ed Guerrero, no?
Yep.
Ed,
I've heard of him before, yep.
he's like a specializes in real estate.
Yep, and this person, if you call them, you have to say you've been referred. They don't take new clients unless they're referred from somebody else.
Mhm.
Because they specialize in certain good companies like real estate. So you can tell them that Andrew Moran sent you, and that's fine.
Mhm.
And then they'll talk to you. Otherwise, they won't take you as a client if you just try to call. They don't take any new clients unless they're referred. But they did a really good job for me the whole time.
Great, that's great.
I've been really happy with them. Any other questions? All right, I'm gonna shut off our live stream then. Thanks for watching, anyone who's watching. If I can see how to find out where to shut, there it is.